All right. Hello, everybody. We are live. This is Craft Beer News for June 24th, 2022. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. We recorded this live after our interview with Ogma Brewing on Friday nights. We're live at 7 p.m. every Friday on twitch.tv/bod podcast, facebook.com/betterondraft, and just simply betterondraft.tv to make your life easier. Going around real quick, seeing what everybody is drinking. We'll start with myself here. I still have the 2 alt beers that I'm drinking, and I got a third alt beer to drink while I'm with it because I just love alt beer. Nick, what about you? What are you drinking over there?
I'm still drinking my Schloss Brewery Raider Pilsner from earlier.
All right, and Wendy, what do you got over there? Wendy, you're muted. Congratulations. Welcome to 2022.
Got 2 places to mute now. It's crazy. Anyways, I just cracked open a No Rules, the molasses ginger variant. So pretty excited to try that out.
Wendy's about to party tonight. That's for sure. Dan, what are you drinking?
Refilled up on the Scottish Ale.
Is that what's in your brand new kegerator?
It's one of them, along with my oatmeal stout, and I've got a black bee porter in there too.
All right, and finally, Tito, what do you got over there?
Finishing off the last of my Ghetto Blaster from Modi City Brewing Works, but then I just did a fresh crack of Black is Beautiful, still celebrating Juneteenth here.
Where's that one from?
This one's from Sagatok. So they actually did a fresh brew this year, so this is it, and they actually distro through Walmart, which I just found that out. Didn't really know that. So and I got that going in my Black is Beautiful glass here. So there you go. That's what I'm drinking.
Well, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Tito is always usually hanging in the chat room. And when Rob said he wanted a break, Rob actually suggested to bring Tito in. And I feel like I had to pull his arm and drag him, and he came kicking and screaming. But welcome to the show, Tito.
Well, thanks for having me.
So let's get a quick rundown before we get into the news. Tito, what are your go-to beer styles?
Dark and darker. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you fit in perfectly here.
Dark and darker.
That's awesome.
And especially the ones that come out of a barrel. Those are the best ones. So
I agree.
Tito would have been great during the first year of this show.
Yeah, you would have fit in perfectly. We'd be like Rob who?
Well, so then let me ask this, Tito: is there a style that you don't gravitate towards? Like Ken loves Ken loves spicy beers. I'm kidding, and Dan loves pumpkin beers. I'm also kidding.
Flip those around. I think you got it right.
I know. I didn't.
Yeah.
Is there a style or maybe like a flavor profile that you just like? I don't want nothing to do with.
I'll probably get banned from everybody else in the chat or whatnot, but it's IPAs. IPAs just.
Okay.
I don't like IPAs.
Trash.
Dan doesn't like IPAs.
Trash.
We are definitely
not a big fan of IPAs.
We're definitely not the percentage of craft beer drinkers to what we like. We're not following that same trend for sure.
Right.
As we gravitate a little bit more towards, as Tito says, the dark and the darker. Wendy, I think, just drinks anything that says beer at the end of it.
I don't like smoked beers.
You don't like smoked beers.
Oh,
I just learned that
terrible.
about you.
And I'm not a fan of Pilsners. They're too bitter for me.
So you weren't a fan of the live oak beers?
Oh, those are great.
She says,
They were very well-made beers,
That's fair.
Got all those still sitting in this closet. I need to get those out.
but I did share them with my dad because he does like a smoked beer.
Well, then that's the perfect way to do it, is to share it with the pops. Tito, what do you want in a brewery? What do you like seeing when you go to a brewery? Is it a giant plethora of styles? Is it giant Jenga? Like, what do you want to see when you walk in?
Honestly, I'm when I want to see, I at least want to see something that I prefer to drink. I'm gonna go off of what Dan always says is I'm a dark beer drinker. What do you have that's dark that I'm going to gravitate towards? But I'll be honest, I try some of everything. I'll try the IPA, I'll try the sour. But if I'm going to go in looking for something, I'm going to look for that brown or look for that stout or look for the barrel aged styles. That's pretty much what I'm gonna gravitate towards.
And what are some of your favorite Michigan breweries and beers?
Oh, wow. I like to hop around to a lot of different breweries, but my go-tos primarily most of the stuff downtown. Batch Brewery is one of my favorites. I like Eastern Market as well, and Griffin Claw. I mean, I can't say enough about Griffin Claw. Just that's like a family spot for us. Them and also Sherwood's. Those are like family spots for us because they have great food. They got awesome beers. My all-time favorite beer's got to be the Flying Buffalo line. I love the Flying Buffalo. I think I probably got from 2017 on down in my basement right now. So
yeah,
I love Flying Buffalo.
We're booking it, and this is going to be a little spoiler for a lot of fans. But if you want to join us, we're going to be offering the ability of some of you guys to join us for our 300th episode extravaganza, in which we are doing a Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo full vert. And when I say full vert, I mean I've got bombers, I've got stuff that might say a different brewery name. I have got some old ass Flying Buffalo, some new, all the variants, one of each. So your opportunity, if there was a Flying Buffalo variant that you loved and you missed, for me, like the mole from a few years ago was so good.
It was.
Your opportunity is here. Throw us a message in the chat. Write us a 5-star review on iTunes and say, hey, you want to go. If you write a 1-star review and say you want to go, I don't know if that's going to work. But a 5-star.
Write the 1-star on iTunes. Be like, yeah, can I come to this?
I hate your guys' podcast, but I really love Flying Buffalo. I mean, I would appreciate the honesty, but it's not going to work for me. For us.
Great. You just got 5 more 1-star reviews. Good job.
All right. Well, with that in mind, we are going into the news. Starting with, I'm going to start with my news segment just because we have 4th of July coming up next week. And there was an article over in Brewbound about Memorial Day weekend, in which RTDs actually took over the sale of seltzers off of the Drizzly app. Now, this is obviously a limited source of information because it is delivered alcohol. So it's not picked up alcohol. It is delivered in states that isn't necessarily Michigan because Michigan doesn't have Drizzly. But it's still a decent amount of information to see where the market is going. Now, with that in mind and seltzers kind of taking a back burner, obviously I don't think it's going to hurt the main folks at like Oddside who have made a career now in seltzers. But for the breweries that were making seltzers, are you going to see the need for them to make an RTD or team up with a some other company to make an RTD for them? What do you think needs to occur to stand with the market? And I'm going to start with Dan here.
So can a brewery make an RTD if they don't have the ability to make liquor? I guess that's my first thing.
So RTD is definitely a very loose term because there are many things we consider RTDs that are not RTDs. For example,
so talking like mics, things like that, malt beverages.
Yeah, like you could technically make an RTD like a FMB, a flavored malt beverage. RTD, for those of you who don't know, are ready-to-go drinks, basically a cocktail to go. So when COVID hit, the big thing that you could do is you could go to a lot of your bars and restaurants and you would be able to purchase a cocktail that they made, maybe something that you liked because they made it the right way every time and you couldn't recreate it, and take it home. RTDs turned it into a massive campaign of cans where Coppercraft and other distilleries, and they were doing it before, made drinks like a Moscow Mule, a mint julep in a can, ready for you to drink, take on a boat, etc. So can a brewery that doesn't have a distiller's license make an RTD? I say they can finagle it and make something close to it and still be a beer or an FMB, but you know, I don't think there's going to be any benefit to having a distillery and making an RTD versus just making a FMB that's like an RTD.
So yeah, I think they're going to have to, because you know, when it comes to seltzers versus most RTDs, the flavor is like way different. Like seltzer, someone told this to me, drinking a seltzer is like licking the static of a TV screen, the old TV screens, you know, from back in the day. Well, someone yells the name of a flavor in the other room. You know, and it really does come down to that's kind of how they are. So if people can move to RTDs with more flavor, I think they're going to do it. And it makes sense if it's being sold more than a seltzer is currently.
You know what makes sense is you knowing what tasting or licking a TV tastes like.
The static. Everyone's done it. Don't even pretend. I wish Rob was here right now. Wendy's probably done it too. She,
who hasn't done it?
I mean, come on. People like these kids.
Exactly.
I'm totally anti-static, so I'm the person who had to turn it off when that would happen because it freaks me out. I'm pretty sure something's going to come out of my TV. I'm just saying, I'm that age.
Wendy's afraid of Sadako and Ringu and all these other Japanese,
all them crazy things. I grew up in that time period. I can't do that.
What about you, Tito? What's your thoughts on the RTD trend, the seltzer trend? Do you think that breweries are going to start needing to make RTDs to catch up to how everyone was kind of making seltzers at one point?
I think so, because honestly, I prefer an RTD over a seltzer any day.
What's your cocktail of choice?
Of choice, the Copper Crafts are pretty good, but actually, you know what? I really like the High Noon. High Noons are really good, but if you add a little bit of extra into them, that makes them even better. And actually, Griffin Claw just released their line of RTDs as well. So,
I have always been a fan of adding alcohol to alcohol, especially gin to White Claw.
Yeah, I do vodka. Yeah.
Wendy, what about you? I mean, you're not really big into seltzers from what I recall.
No, I'm not a big seltzer fan, probably because I believe the taste is very similar to what Dan has described.
Without officially knowing.
Without officially knowing what static tastes like. But so during the pandemic, I was a big fan of going to the local places and getting stuff to take home. So I did a lot of the different local places where you could get the RTDs to take home. Detroit City Distilling had amazing RTD cocktails that you could go and pick up. I'd go over to Eastern Market, grab a beer, go over to Detroit City Distilling, grab an RTD. Those were amazing. I think they're fantastic, but I think they're very different than the canned stuff that you're buying in a store. The canned stuff that you're buying in a store, while it tastes really good, to me is so full of sugar that I think it alters it. And I just don't like the way I feel when I drink it.
Nick, what about you? You're kind of all over the spectrum when it comes to drinking. You're kind of like up for anything as long as it's put in front of you and it's free.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm such a freeloader. Anyway,
not a freeloader, but if somebody put something in front of you that was free,
hey,
like, all right,
shout out to all the breweries that give us stuff to try on our show. We can talk about them. So. But anyway, I'll admit I haven't been dived into the the RTD stuff all that much. I'll be very honest, but I feel like I would be the kind of person that if I wanted something that you can get like in a can, like Tito was saying, Copper Craft, I feel like it would be better if I were to just go to like a bar and have it made there. Wendy brings up the sugar thing too, which that doesn't bother me all that much, but I feel like it would be better for me made right there on the spot. You're sitting down at the table and you have it right there, as opposed to it being created through some process. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like that kind of misses out on the experience just a little bit. But again, if you're going out, West Side, go to the sand dunes over there in Ludington, and you want a cocktail and you don't have the material, the ingredients to do it, and that's your alternative, then I say go for it. Especially if something as good as Copper Craft, for example. That's just one example of many. But to me, I would prefer the real, made right there in front of me.
It's the craft of it.
It is. It's almost like an art. It's like an art form, basically, especially when you go to some of the, bars and cocktail area, places that, literally make it like a show, for example. But I think that's the extreme side of cocktail making.
I'll always
that's my
choose out
preference.
Kiesling over in Milwaukee Junction. Kiesling is easily one of the best cocktail bars in the state itself. For me, I can't do massive pre-mixed cocktails. So if it's like they mixed it early, like I love DCD and I love every single cocktail I've had at DCD, except for when I went to an event that they were hosting. They did old timey wrestling. Great event, by the way. If you have kids,
Is this midget wrestling?
no, they're
I was gonna say, I thought I
was
heard
ready.
tiny, and I'm like, wait, is he referring to midget wrestling?
tiny.
Oh, time. Oh, is this like the Mascabana kind of?
Old timey, like giant mustache, bald head, giant dumbbells that say 4,000 kilograms, like that kind of.
Oh, like vaudeville?
Yeah, like a little bit of vaudeville.
Is Simon Gotch wrestling? Or
I
something?
met
No.
retired professional wrestlers.
No, this was
Scott Steiner
They
there.
bring in a lot of local wrestlers to do the event, but the event itself, like they had the Purple Gang versus the FBI in Detroit. So they
Wait, from ECW FBI?
no
Full-blooded Italians.
Just completely derailed this. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
No, like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Purple Gang, the Detroit group that was bootlegging. You remember back then? Were you part of the Purple Gang back in the?
No, I was saying with Nunzio and those guys.
Tracy Smothers
The moral of the story is they had just a giant batch of an old fashioned, like this giant vat of old fashioned that they were pouring, and it just tasted so bad. But I've had an old fashioned at DCD and it was so good. So getting a cocktail made for me, like I'm fine with that, but having like mass produced like an RTD, I'm not necessarily in the mood for it unless it's just like a general flavor. Like Moscow Mule, the seltzer from Oddside Ales, amazing seltzer. Tastes just like a Moscow Mule, not just like licking static, but an actual full ginger flavor. But yeah,
Static.
Now,
Yeah.
I do want to say, for anybody out there who is producing their RTDs, we would be more than happy to try them
Oh,
and
yeah.
see which ones we like.
Absolutely. I'm down for that.
I'm just putting that out there.
Well, Wendy, you're the one that wanted to put that out there. Let's have you bring the next news segment in.
So I found that on Monday, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit Court affirmed a ruling allowing CANarchy to sell its beer to go in Texas. Apparently, in 2019, the Texas legislature amended the alcoholic beverage code to allow brewers and manufacturers to sell malt beverages to consumers for off-premises, wow, that's hard to say, consumption. But they limited the beer to go sales to brewers and manufacturers that produced more than 225,000 barrels annually at all premises that they wholly or partly owned. Well, CANarchy was like, oh, let's sell this then. And they started selling their stuff. And the Texas ABC ordered CANarchy to cease and desist after determining that its facilities collectively exceeded the 225,000 barrel limit. So CANarchy did the good thing and they complied, but then they filed suit seeking a declaratory judgment that the 225,000 barrel threshold did not apply to barrels produced at leased premises. So the court's opinion came back from Circuit Judge Corey T. Wilson said that in this case, CANarchy Craft Brewery Collective versus the Texas Alcoholic Commission is about beer and the meaning of the word owned, which he calls a pint-sized word with stout implications for craft brewers in Texas. So my question is, how do we feel about that they were able to get their to-go sales based on the fact that they lease the premises, not own it?
I think the portion of the bill has really good intentions that hurt a company like Deep Ellum, who is out of Texas, who is owned by CANarchy. So this is who they were referring to. There might be another brewery they own in Texas, but Deep Ellum is not doing 225,000 barrels themselves. So they're not a chain brewery. They're not a Granite City. They're not a BJ's. Yeah, they're not a a brewery like that. Like, the whole point of them is they're a craft beer collective. They're a collective of craft beer organizations put together to improve each other's businesses. As much as it's a business, it's still, you know, they still definitely imply what you're getting within the sale of beers from CANarchy. Like, Perrin is still brewing Perrin beer. They're still hiring Perrin brewers. They're not hiring CANarchy brewers. So for me, I think this is fixing a mistake that wasn't meant to be made. And I'm really happy that they were able to get it through. And it looks like get it through within a couple years, which isn't too bad, especially with, you know, how courts have been a little bit slower during the COVID era. So that's my thought. What about you, Nick?
Sorry, having a little bit of technical difficulty there. Man, you know, they just let people sell. That's what I gotta say. Just let people sell. I feel like people. I don't want to get too crazy, especially with today's events. But I'm not going that route. I'm not going to go that route. But I feel like just businesses in general, do they just need to just let them do what they need to do, and just let people sell? That's all I'm going to say. Is just let them do what's right for the business, and just, you know, I'm glad that the circuit court did affirm this, that they're allowed to do it. Should it have ever gotten there? Probably not.
Well,
but,
I think,
you know,
the big thing here is for them is to basically make sure someone like Budweiser doesn't come in and drop a tap room and destroy some local brewery.
Right. And which I don't see that happening. I just, you know, I feel like the AB InBev and, you know, all those companies, I feel like they would rather spend their money spending it on Super Bowl ads at that point. Or, you know, I just don't see dilly, you know, and silly marketing campaigns like that. Hey, they work because it goes off the shelf and everything. And I'm kind of guilty of other marketing schemes as well, but I won't get into that. But I don't see the big wigs doing that. So I don't know. I think that they have other fish to fry as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, I can see why that could be a problem, because all it's going to take is, you know, Budweiser's got the new tap room here in downtown Austin, Texas, for example, or down in Dallas or whatever. And now everyone's going to gravitate towards it. And then you just screwed out all the little folks that are trying to make a living in this industry, which is still rapidly growing even after, you know, year 3 of a pandemic, of a worldwide pandemic. Still growing, and there's no signs of it slowing down. So, but again, it's nice to see that the judicial system affirmed the ruling, let them sell to go. Maybe that'll be the end of the story. It probably won't, but at least for now, they win their day in court on this one.
Anybody else want to comment? Dan?
No, Nick covered. Nick covered it good.
Yeah, he did. I agree with Nick on that one too.
Yeah, let them sell. Texas has some of the worst laws when it comes to selling beer.
And to be honest, I didn't even. My question was does Budweiser even have a tap room? I just looked it up. They do.
Do they really?
Yeah. Oh, they do.
Where hit up that Budweiser tap room?
Tito, where at?
It's Sanford, Florida.
Sanford, Florida.
Like Sanford and Son, Florida.
Sanford.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Sanford, Florida.
Yeah, they have a tap room. It's Budweiser tap room. That's what it's called.
I feel like I've heard of that city.
Do they have like 2 taps? They have like Bud and Bud Light. Like, here you go.
No, they got like Bud Ice.
First of all, there are so many beers that Budweiser makes that it's.
They got King Cobra.
They got Natty Daddy.
Natty Daddy. Speaking of Natty Daddy, I did see a pretty cool contest I signed up for that natural beer had, and I signed up for it. It was a pretty cool cooler. I had to have it. I don't think I'll win it, but it looked pretty cool.
Well, Nick,
see, silly marketing schemes.
What article do you got?
Well, sticking on the topic of silly marketing schemes, One of the breweries that I went to back in 2019 before the world shut down as part of my trip through New England, Harpoon Brewing out in Boston and Windsor, Vermont, is doing a collaboration with none other than Reebok, the shoe company. Harpoon's Rec League beer is kind of the framework of it. And they have collaborated with Reebok to co-brand and release a set of running shoes that are Harpoon Brewing branded. And you could be one of 10 people to win a pair of these Reebok branded, Harpoon branded shoes. And if you look at the can, you can look it up this is on Brewbound. You can see that the colors of the shoes match exactly what the can of Rec League, their beer from Harpoon Brewing, basically matches the color scheme on the can. Of all of the weird, crazy marketing collaboration schemes we have talked on this show, mainly because of me, does this one take the cake as one of the most unusual ones, or are the beer suckers still top notch as the most ridiculous?
I think.
Can you tell me how to get those?
I was like, Wendy, what's your thought on this?
Wait, the beer suckers.
How do I sign up
For the shoes or the beer suckers?
No, not the beer suckers.
Okay,
how do I sign up to try to get
I'll
the
have
shoes?
to figure that out. I'll have to let you know later, but
we need to post that link on the site.
The link will
Wait, don't post it because I want a better chance if they're only giving away 10 pairs.
Well, we'll post the link to you, and then we'll post the link to the news article on the recap for the show itself.
Okay.
I still think Pea in a Bush.
The bush funnel. Yeah.
Funnel was definitely the worst. I have so many questions about this because shoes, there is so many sizes of shoes. And I don't know about y'all, but if you've never seen my feet, I got big fucking feet. I wear 14.4E.
And the E represents like the width of the shoe.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's not and I think you've said this before, Ken, that's not a standard width.
No. There are times where I walked into a New Balance store once and I said, "Do you have anything in this size?" And they brought out a box and said, "Here is your selection."
If it makes you feel any better, that's what bra shopping is like for me.
A little bit. It makes me feel better that you understand the pain and the plight that I have. When I go bra shopping, it's not the same, but
Ken, I kind of know what you mean when it comes to shopping for pants, because they have nothing in length greater or less than 30 inches. And I'm only 5'2". I need 28 to actually make it where I don't have to hem them or modify them. I never see those in stores. I don't feel like going to the kids section to get jeans.
I was just about to say that, Nick, but I'm glad you said it, so I didn't have to.
Well, Tito, I'm glad I said it.
I am so mad right now because Julia makes fun of me because she says I have such a long torso. I wear size 28 length pants.
Wait, where do you go to get them?
What kids section do you go to, apparently?
Like any normal American, Amazon.com.
You see, now
there you go, Nick. Now you don't have to be embarrassed.
So I have a problem with clothes shopping on Amazon. I have a big problem.
You can return them. So
I know, but I don't want to go to Kohl's every time the pair of pants doesn't fit. I don't want to do it. What?
Oh my God! Welcome to being a big girl.
The UPS store.
No, I'm sorry. There's
Nick. Listen. You take the time and the investment right now to figure out what pant size you are, what brand pant size you are, because not all pant sizes are the same.
No, to me that's
take the time now, and then you have it, and then you just buy the same damn pants for the rest of your life.
There's no fun in that, though.
There's no fun in wearing pants that don't fit.
Well, I got an awesome tailor that lives down the road from me.
My God.
You get jeans tailored? I mean, Nick, what are you doing?
I gotta get them hemmed. What do you want me to do?
Or just go to Amazon. Why is this
okay? All right, hold on. All right, no. So it's no surprise I work for a utility company. No surprise. I'm
Because of your pants?
Wait. No, because I'm required at times to wear pants that are fire retardant, and they don't make them that length. I have to get them hemmed.
Well, see,
Yeah,
now you're putting
Never
rules
mind.
onto here.
Where's Matt Bush right now?
Because
Can you
kids don't
get
need
Matt
fire
Bush
retardant
out
clothes.
here?
Oh, I'm sorry. I work with electricity sometimes. What do you want from me?
Tito, what do you think of these shoes?
Honestly, I don't think you'll have a problem getting these shoes, Ken, because most likely they're going to be custom made for whoever orders them. So you may be in luck.
I mean, if
there you go.
that's the case, they have like a size 12 on the photo right in front of me, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that's not gonna work for me.
Well, they're running shoes too, so.
Well, I just feel like a shirt is easy to make. You can screen.
You
print
don't
a
have
shirt.
to run because you're wearing them, though.
No, I know.
That is true.
I wonder if whoever wins them, do you think they'll go on StockX to see how much they sell for and see if anyone will buy them on StockX?
Oh, I'm sure there's a sneakerhead out there that's a beer fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm going to
Definitely.
wear them.
Yeah, that's why my thing is. You hit the nail right on the head, Nick. Is if I win these things, I'm gonna basically put them up somewhere and say who wants them because they're gonna go. I mean, have you seen the sneaker industry? Oh my gosh, it is.
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
What some of these sneakers go for out here nowadays? Oh man, and those will be rare. So you can
It is not
probably
about
get
the
top
money.
dollar for them.
Hey.
Oh, for a sneakerheads, it's about the money.
It is not always about the money.
It's
about
always about the. Do you like half of the news segment is always about? It's always about the money.
Oh, I know.
But the money.
This is why I'm broke.
Did you just quote? You could just quote that JJ commercial.
No, what JJ commercial?
Oh God, JJ from Good Times. Never mind.
Oh,
Yes, he-
okay.
You know what,
Jimmy Walker.
Dan, what's your article?
Yeah, so fireworks this week in the Modern Times sale. Let me get back to my article here. I just switched on the NHL game. My apologies.
Wait, they actually have a hockey team out there in Arizona?
Yeah, we do have a hockey team, but they're not in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh,
So-
okay. About to say.
I just want to make a point that we are so interesting that even the people live on the show would rather watch hockey than participate.
Yeah, well, fuck the Avs. So, and you should every one of you guys should be able to appreciate that comment. 'Cause screw that team.
I can get on that one.
There's the Michigan Beer Discord, which everybody's free to join. If you check out in the show notes, you can join the Michigan Beer Discord. There's a few people who are definitely Avs fans and Tampa
Kick 'em
fans.
Kick off the Avs fans.
And
Joe Sakic does not get a ring. I'm sorry. So, anyways,
Go
let's
on.
move it on. Go into our article before I go down that rabbit hole. So, this week, North Carolina brewery TRU Colors filed an objection due to their $20.1 million bid for Modern Times being rejected in favor of Brewery X's out of Anaheim's bid of $20 million to buy Modern Times. The reason being it was rejected is Brewery X put in a bid of $20 million with a 30-day close versus a $20.1 million with a 120-day close. TRU Colors has now put in the objection and put in a new bid of $21 million to try to make the sale go through. Basically, it came down to a pissing match between the two of these breweries wanting to purchase it. And some of the financials of Modern Times came out where it turns out they're actually not that far behind in most payments. The only payments they're behind are in their various leases for their tap rooms. So I'm curious, this situation with Modern Times has been going on for quite a while. Are these two breweries overbidding? Do you think this brewery at this point is worth $20 million or $20.1 million? Or is this going to screw whoever gets the winning bid? And let's hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, who are you starting with?
I was trying to decide. Sorry.
So Modern Times has how many tap rooms?
They have several. Let me pull this back up. I know they closed several. They still have the one in North Park, which is actually their least expensive one to have. And then they have their main one, which is running them about $20,000 a month. They have about 3 to 4 still in total that are currently open.
All right. So first question, make sure whatever link you're referencing is in the doc. So I make sure I post it in there because I'm definitely on a different link right now. But obviously when you're looking at a purchase, one, you have to worry about the name, the recipes, the distribution, the portfolio, and every place that you can potentially sell your beer out of. So for TRU Colors, TRU Colors, I feel like is a East Coast or Eastern
North Carolina.
Yeah, Eastern Brewery. So I feel like this would be great for True Colors because it's going to allow West Coast access. I feel like they're going to keep Modern Times. They're going to bring in a little bit more True Colors. And the True Colors and what they do over there, if you guys aren't familiar with True Colors, is a advocacy brewery, we could call it, maybe, for the advocacy for stopping gang violence. So it brings in a lot of former gang members who are looking to be rehabilitated, people who were career criminals who can't find a job or looking for a job. So there are a lot of amazing things True Colors can do. Bringing it over to the West Coast can not only expand the horizon, I feel like this would give Modern Times a lot more, I don't want to say clout, but I feel like choosing them over Brewery X would be beneficial to Modern Times, to keeping the Modern Times legacy. Now, we don't know the minutia of what is going into these contracts. We don't know what True Colors is saying they'll keep, they'll get rid of, they'll destroy, they'll leave. We've talked to a few people on our show, like Baffin talked about, hey, if someone were to come in and want to buy us, we would want X, Y, and Z. And that might be something that's worth $1 million or $100,000. But the thing is that now that I think about it, Modern Times was in an auction. So, the only thing that was different was along with the $100,000 is 90 extra days to close. So yeah, I think True Colors, both breweries have reasons to buy this brewery. Modern Times is a good name, and they have a lot of assets that they can purchase. I think it's definitely worth more than what they're paying. But I feel like there's a lot of debt that they're still going to have to recover day one. Because they're going to have to pay for all the backed stuff, because that's the first thing that's going to happen. The second, they're going to pay the 20.1 and have to probably pay
all the leases, everything that's owed.
So if the thing is that it's 120 days to close, that's 4 months of extra payments. So how much did you say, or 3 months of extra payments? How much did you say it was for the facilities? You said one was like 20,000.
So yeah, their Encinitas is their second biggest expense at just under 20,000, while somehow their North Park location in San Diego is only about 5,000. But that does add up between them all. Yeah,
look, that's 75,000 just there. That doesn't include if they still have leases on the buildings that they've closed. Payments due, like that's 3 extra months of all of that. So at 2.1 million versus 2 million, you're almost, it's basically the same. Again, we don't know the minutia of the contract. We don't know how deep it gets into. We could be we are making this up. But again, why would you take less money for a longer time, but then you're still paying all these things? So that's just my thoughts. But Tito, what about you?
Actually, if it's what it's worth, maybe it's worth it to them. I mean, like I say, just having that brand name, maybe that's why they're willing to pay for that in order to get it. So, I mean, honestly, you can't. I really don't make judgments on how people want to spend their money, but I mean, if it's they have some value to it, then hey, to each his own.
Wendy?
Yeah, I don't know, because we don't know all the what's going on with the contracts and stuff like that. I don't know that we can really. I mean, we can say our opinions. Maybe they took the less money for the longer time because they want to see if they can bring it back. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
It's always so tricky when these smaller companies that are privately owned, when you don't have that public information, it always makes it, there's always this cloud of, or shroud of uncertainty behind the deal, what the intent is. When you get these bigger companies wanting to purchase other bigger companies in the public space, publicly traded, it's a little bit harder to hide behind the wall, or hide behind, in the room where the dealing is happening, because publicly traded companies, you have to report out on all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more easier to understand, maybe a little bit more easier to see what some of the wheelings and dealings are in that space. But with these smaller companies, and it's not just craft beer, I feel it could be across the board. You really don't really know until the dust settles after the acquisition or merger is taking place. At least that's kind of how I feel with something like this. I'm sure there's good intent. At least I hope. I think we all hope there's good intent. But you never know. And I think that's the scary thing sometimes whenever you have a merger or an acquisition of any size, that you have to, there's always could be some ill will or ill intent. Hopefully that's not the case here, because Modern Times is, Modern Times puts out some good stuff overall.
I would hope that the reason that they would go with a lesser amount for a longer time period is that they're trying to look out for their employees, because I have been a part of companies that have been taken over that
so just to clarify,
they screwed.
They went with a lesser amount for a shorter time period. The lesser amount was a 30-day close versus the 20.1 million for a 120-day close.
That's a totally different story then.
Now, things were different back in February 2021 when we had Modern Times on. We had Philip and Andrew discussing the brewery. Obviously, things have changed a lot. I think we all look for the good in people. I think a lot of people may dig a little deeper into why True Colors bid was denied. Simply for what kind of, their advocacy, their brewery. They're not your standard brewery. They're not just, someone with money. They have a product on top of the product that they're selling, and that's rehabilitation of former gang members. And we live in a world, let's be honest, of NIMBY. And Modern Times or the city of Anaheim might have called and said, hey, no, we don't want this kind of brewery in our system. And as it pains me to say something like that, because I don't want it to be true, but again, America. So I think there's a lot more to dig in. I think the big thing that I think we could conclude is that 3 extra months of bills will add up to eat into that 100,000 like that. To where I don't think it's really a quote unquote better deal just because it's 100,000 more. That's, I think, the best we can do for the information that we have. But I'm open to other guys' opinions before we end the show with Tito's news article.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot missing there that we probably don't know about.
It'll come out in the next couple weeks, and yeah, we're definitely reactionary just because we're a week by week podcast, so we just react to what we just know. So, come next or 2 weeks from now, since we're off next week, we might have new news articles to talk about regarding Modern Times and whoever purchases them. And there might be a third brewery that realizes, hey, this is going for dirt cheap compared to what we thought it would be. And now they're going to try to buy it because they're like, oh, 20 million? That's nothing. We can go buy it. Tito, what's your article? What do you want to talk about tonight?
So I guess at this point, I want to get away from the money, so to speak. Say most of the articles deal around money, but this one here deals more around ingredients. Okay. My article basically deals with the 8 popular beers that use the lowest quality ingredients. So you can imagine what beers are going to be on this list. So in Germany, just over 500 years ago, in the year 1516, the Duke of Bavaria and the Duke of Wilhelm IV issued a decree known as the Reinheitsgebot. There it is. Reinheitsgebot. Yeah. Often referred to as the purity law. The new rule applied to production of beers, establishing strict rules as to what could be used in the brewing process. The intent being to stop the use of all manner of cheap, inferior ingredients that were leading to terrible beers. Under this law, brew could be made using just 3 ingredients: water, barley, and hops. Later, as better understandings of the fermentation process developed, yeast was also added to the list. And for centuries, many breweries they cleaved closely to the Renaissance era rule and brewed beers using only those 4 ingredients. Flash forward to today, using all kinds of stuff. The Reinheitsgebot has been broken all over the place. Now, on one hand, we have examples of trespassers that are so much for the good, such that wild beers made by Dogfish Head Brewery that include ingredients ranging from cocoa to mangoes to honey to salt. Also, we have plenty of breweries cranking out cheap beers that would have the Duke of Wellham IV crying foul, if not sending out Pike Welding Landsconnects to dispatch the offenders. So here are the 8 most popular beers that are brewing with
I think
inferior ingredients.
We need a segment of just a bunch of German words for Tito to try to pronounce. I think this would be a great segment. I am getting it ready already for the July 9th episode. Go on, Tito. What are the beers?
All right, beer number 1. Anybody care to take a guess?
I think we've all seen about the article. Earlier.
Yeah, we've all seen it.
We all seen it. All right, Budweiser and Bud Light is number 1. No surprise. Yes, technically we should be saying that Anheuser-Busch InBev or just AB InBev, but we're zeroing in on the heaviest of America's market here. Budweiser and Bud Light, these two brews are mass produced on an epic scale thanks to the large part of the cheap ingredients that are they're brewed with, along with 4 ingredients okayed by the Rising God. The beers are also brewed with copious amounts of rice, and the past company likely used an experimental GMO rice, according to New York Times, part of the New York Times article.
Now, I know Linus is going to yell at me because I'm probably going to mispronounce it myself. I'm going to help you out here, Tito. Rhine.
I pronounce my name right first.
I know, Tito.
Come on, Tito.
So it's Rhine, like rhinestone. Rhine.
Yep.
Heights.
Rhine Heights.
Rhine Heights.
Yep.
Boot. Rhine Heights Gaboot.
Rhine Heights Gaboot.
There we go. We got it.
Rhine Heights Gaboot.
We got it.
I looked up the meaning of it and the pronunciation earlier, but that was a long time ago.
No, it's fine. I'm sure a lot of people, the true like beer nerds are like screaming in their heads every time that you mispronounce it.
Yeah, 1-star reviews coming in. Get ready.
Tito.
See?
No one fucking cares.
It's the whole Baff and Boffin thing all over again. I'm done.
No one cares.
All right, so we'll run through this because number 8 was maybe surprise. Well, it was a little surprising to me, but number 2 was Miller Lite. Miller Lite, in order for them to produce in high volumes, they added high fructose corn syrup, and
I didn't know.
And basically, a high fructose corn syrup made a genetically modified corn. So that was from Miller Lite. Number 3 is Pabst Brewing Company. Like many lower cost beers, aka cheap beers, Pat Blue Ribbon is brewed with corn syrup on the bill of ingredients, but it is not high fructose corn syrup. It's actually a lower fructose content syrup that is found in many beers, but it is corn syrup made from GMO corn. Also, they may use a non-disclosed artificial flavoring in the Pabst, in the PBR as well. See, I didn't know that, they made these things with corn syrup in them. So that's why I found it.
I didn't know that surprising. Either, but I also didn't know that low fructose corn syrup existed.
Yeah.
Number 4 on the list is corn. Yeah, number 4 on the list is Modelo. I mean, even though they are part of Anheuser-Busch, but when they were before they were bought out by Anheuser-Busch, they were acquired. The brand most of their beers and their brands are Corona Extra as well as Corona Light and other brews in the family, they're made using propylene glycol, which is added as a stabilizing agent. And while concerns over the fact that the ingredients are found in some of the types of antifreeze may have overblown overblown and misleading. So you're drinking, a Corona or a Modelo, you're drinking antifreeze.
I mean, I feel like that's almost like how when people put in the ingredients of like what's in a vaccine, and they've got like all these random ingredients, and you're like, I don't think that's really deadly at that low micro milligrams or whatever.
That is true. Number 5 on the list is Coors Light. Coors Light may be one of the most popular beers in America thanks to the easy drinking smoothness. But let's be honest, the legendary smoothness is a thing largely because of the beer almost has no flavor. The taste, the taste you will get comes from a smidget of hops, some barley, and proprietary yeast strain. And you guessed it, corn syrup. Jeez, oh peas. The brewery states that it's not high fructose corn syrup, but it takes pains to the state that due to the fermentation, none of it ends up in the final product due to the fermentation. So which it gives it a light and overly bodied delivery to a fresher beer. So that's their claim. Number 6 on the list is Colt 45, which that's a blast from the past. Though today produced by Pabst, the ingredients used to make this OG beverage of the National Brewing Company seems to have remained unchanged, said the beverage in Colt 45 lager, aka a malt liquor. According to the Barneville, the ingredients included a blend of malted barley and a special corn syrup, hops, filtered water, and cultured yeast. Wow. The syrup is made of carbohydrates and some simple sugars like dextrose and maltose.
Do you think it's the low fructose corn syrup?
It says special. It's special, so it must be low. It must be the lowest, but it's special.
Can I interrupt for 1 second and just say, can we check and make sure that the person who wrote this article is still around? Because they are hating hardcore on some of these top these biggest breweries. Are they okay?
No, this dude's got like a giant ass beard, sunglasses, and a hat that you would only see on someone from California.
It can't be his real name.
Mike Pomeranz. We'll tag
I'm
him
sure they went after him.
He's appeared in dozens of publications, including Time, People, Playboy, VinePair, Travel and Leisure, and Eater. He resides in England, where he owns the cider hole.
That makes more sense. They're not going to go all the way to England and take care of him.
So, someone in the chat, that would be Chris Hakery. He says the corn syrup was what caused the latest recall. So Molson Coors recently had a recall, if you were unaware. So he believes that the corn syrup is what caused said recall.
It's that specialness in it.
They forgot to filter it out. But keep going, Tito.
And see, you almost messed it up again.
Almost doesn't count.
Number 7 is Rolling Rock, signature beer of Latrobe Brewery and Rolling Rock, a brew that has a soft spot in many people's hearts for brewing low cost and objectively terrible. But the fact is that the not terrible taste belies very cheap ingredients. It is made with water, hops, yeast, and some barley, but most of it is fermentable starches come not from rice or corn, from rice and corn. It's not rice or corn, but from rice and corn. So that's the one for Rolling Rock. And number 8, which it's a rarity in Michigan, which not supposed to be anymore because I think they're starting to distribute in Michigan now. But
December.
Number 8 in December. Okay. Number 8 is Yingling Lager. You know, there's a lot of people that are running out to try and find Yingling, but hopefully this December it'll be more prominent throughout the state. But while this brewery is America's oldest and continual operation, may offer a decent beer for a great price. The price of its flagship brew, Yingling Lager, comes thanks to the ingredients that also disqualifies the company from being called a craft brewery. Yingling Lager is made using corn grits as part of its grain build. So it's that corn grit that actually disqualifies it.
That's too bad. That's a damn good beer.
I was going to say, I got to interject here for one again. I'm sorry. One, the picture in this article has Wendy, who was on our show. Hi, Wendy. And two,
episode
wait,
275. Go on.
Wait, corn grits makes you not a craft brewery? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It looks like it's per some random website that said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the Brewers Association, Yingling still represents part of, they can still pull off the independent seal. They're still family owned, obviously, as we talked to Wendy Yingling from the brewery itself. And while they are the first or second most produced craft brewery in the state, they still fall under the 6 million, well under the 6 million now, barrels of beer that is the maximum. So I know a lot of people really put like Boston Beer Co. and Yingling on its own level, and then everyone else, just because they're in the millions while everyone's talking the 100,000s, and then everyone's talking the 10,000s. It's kind of like with Michigan, we're so top heavy, Bells and Founders, and then a handful of 10,000 barrel breweries, Oddside, New Holland, Shorts, and then just a bunch of even lower. So. Doesn't matter. Yingling wasn't considered craft by the BA until 3 years ago. The BA changed their mind about corn adjuncts. Says Chris Hakery, who is definitely more in tune with the business on that aspect. He is over at Austin Brothers Beer Co., which you can go check them out up in Alpena, Michigan. But yeah, so that is the news segment for June 24th, 2022. We are off again next week. Folks, go check out some of our older episodes. I'm sure you haven't been listening since episode 1. Go check out some of our older episodes.
Go check out episode 1.
It'll be fun.
Episode 1's so different than the episode now, but 3 out of the 5 of us were there for episode 1. We've changed some hosts since then.
Check out
lost
Bob
some.
on episode 2.
Oh yeah, Bob Schreiber was on episode 2. Episode 1 was Eric Brigham.
Yeah.
So definitely check out all of our previous episodes. Tito, you are here for the next few weeks, so don't worry. He will be back if you enjoyed his time. And if you didn't enjoy his time, he'll be here just to spite you. That's going to do it. Better on Draft the News. 624. My name is Ken. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Have a good night.
Oh, my blunt.